那什么玩意儿？哎，
Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining me. My name's Campbell. This is autodidactic, which of course means to be self-educated. And that's what we're going to do is check out some of the weird, strange stuff that's going on, mainly on our screens, but apparently all around us, right? And come to our own conclusions about what all this really means. Is it just a story? Is it real? Like, is it any of our concern at all? These are the things we need to think about, right? Going forward, do we really want to be attached to this 2D world, right? This screen world? It's a very strange predicament, especially since I'm doing this on a screen in front of you. But let's jump in and see what's going on in this strange realm.
30 short proofs that the Earth is flat. Follow if you're curious why people believe in it. Look at how sun rays break through the clouds. See the angles? They spread out in different directions. That suggests the sun is not as far from the clouds as we're told. If the sun were 93 million miles away, the rays would appear parallel. Airplanes always fly straight. On a globe, they'd have to constantly tilt downward, otherwise, they'd drift into space. Water always levels itself. If we were on a sphere, oceans would be in constant chaos, but they're calm. There's a huge difference in temperature between the equator and the poles. On a flat Earth, the sun circles above the equator, which would explain the heat. If the sun were really that far away, the temperature difference wouldn't be so extreme. The temperatures on other planets also seem strange. For example, Mercury is colder than Venus, even though it's closer to the sun. The horizon looks flat at any altitude, no fisheye lens. You can see this from high-altitude balloons. Ships can see lighthouses from very far away. On a curved Earth, this shouldn't be possible. Some flight paths don't make sense on a globe, but they look much more logical on a flat Earth map. Like Sydney to Johannesburg. Especially when crossing the Pacific, wouldn't it be easier to fly straight across? And look at how flights avoid Antarctica. Strange, right? It looks like they're hiding something, but these routes make sense on a flat map. We see full moons in the day, even when Earth is supposedly between the sun and moon. That's not how shadows work. Why is the sun so bright during the day? If other stars were even brighter and bigger, shouldn't the night sky be just as bright? They say the planet spins at 1,000 miles per hour, plus the sun moves, plus the galaxies spin. That adds up to insane speeds. Yet we feel nothing. Wouldn't there be chaos? Planes shouldn't fly the way they do. They'd either reach too fast or miss their destinations. Weather doesn't seem affected by gravity. If Earth spun that fast, weather would be completely unstable. Bullets shot straight up land only a few hundred meters away. With rotation, they should land far off, even kilometers away. With that kind of spinning, water should fly off into space. Just watch how water behaves on a spinning tennis ball. Imagine we're in a vacuum, like they say. Look what vacuum does to sealed tanks. If Earth were in space, wouldn't it collapse too? Lasers shot over long distances stay level, they don't curve. Terrain may affect the result, but not Earth's curvature. Star positions haven't changed in hundreds of years. There's no visible parallax. Constellations stay the same. At the North Pole, Polaris always stays in the same place, and stars rotate around it. Strange if the universe is expanding. NASA talks about planets in other galaxies, but we don't see a single space station in real footage. When building long railways, even over 13,000 kilometers, they don't account for any curvature. If Earth were a globe, canals would curve and water would flow off somewhere. But canals like the Suez look flat and motionless. Gravity? Have you ever seen actual, direct proof of it? Ask AI sometimes, it even gives flat Earth info. Try it yourself. Many proofs for the globe are questionable, like in Antarctica, where shadows shift in seconds. Edited images of the globe. Pause and look, something feels off. CGI is used in every globe Earth video. Radio signals often reach far beyond the horizon past where they should be blocked by curvature. Time zones don't align well with a rotating globe. Neighboring regions with the same sun position often have very different local times, which fits better with a man-made system for a flat map. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Well, what do you think? Flat, round, crater, something else? other lands. Let me know what do you think the shape of this realm is, and what's your biggest reason for that? With me, I believe it. We're not definitely not a ball because water doesn't curve. We're stationary because the stars don't move, right? Astrology could not exist if we were hurtling through the universe. And is there extra land? What are your thoughts? I tend to believe that there is. And I believe that there probably is inside the ice wall, right? In this realm, I think that there's lands that have been hidden. And turning, a flat plane into a globe gives you a lot of scope to hide a lot of land. But mainly, I think there's more land just from all the old maps I've looked at. Like there's so many well, there's some that actually show more land, but just looking at the maps, you just see how things have been distorted, how they've changed land, masses and sizes and hidden, very easy to hide things. And then Google Earth, if it was a ball and they had all these satellites in outer space, as they tell us, why is Google Earth all just graphics? It's not photos, it's graphics. But let me know your thoughts below.
Now, why is the South Pole important? Why do we go down there? It is because the bottom of the world is an untouched reservoir of natural resources. Strangely enough, there is left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
This is a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Right up to the ice barrier of the Ross Sea shelf, behind which lay the Bay of Whales and Little America. The only entrance was through a miraculous canyon in the ice barrier. Narrow gaps no more than 400 yards wide and slowly closing every day. Through this, the ships disappeared, one by one, creeping between giant jaws of ice that loomed threateningly off either bow. A harmless threat, though, for all emerged without mishap into the Bay of Whales. Ahead was a landfall of solid ice and Little America.
Yes, Admiral Byrd. That's another big clue, right? Is the Antarctic Treaty. We can't go there, and same with the Arctic. You can't go there. They'll literally send battleships and air force to turn you around, and if you don't, they start shooting. And we have all these old maps with Hyperborea at the center, and books like the Smoky God. But there we have Admiral Byrd saying there's more land south of the South Pole, which of course doesn't make sense, on a globe at all, right? I think there's only one pole, the North Pole, and the South Pole is just the opposite direction to that. But what do you think is in Antarctica? Let me know.
This guy was silenced after he exposed the dark secret of McDonald's, that the owners come from elites, Freemasons to children's teeth. Watch this.
Today we're reporting live in front of the biggest dump in America, and we're exposing them with no mercy. From occultic symbolism found in the McDonald's logo to a 33rd degree Freemason as their founder, all the way to children's teeth and literal human flesh in their food. We're covering it all today, folks, so stay tuned for the rest of this video. First, we're going to talk about the McDonald's logo and how it's actually a black magic sigil from a book, specifically this book of witchcraft and Satanism. You see, the legend is that McDonald's was founded by Freemasons and built on a satanic foundation, as you can see with these two former CEOs throwing up the devil horn very publicly. Not only that, but McDonald's and their logo also represents the Ark of Baal. The Ark of Baal was an ancient demonic monument in Syria that got destroyed and for some reason rebuilt in New York. And Baal is the demonic god of child sacrifice in the Bible, and his ark represents demonic portals to different dimensions. So why does the original McDonald's logo not an M, but an ark? Why in St. Louis do we have monuments glorifying Baal? And why do people always find human hair, human DNA, human body parts, human teeth in their McDonald's burgers and foods? All right? Keep in mind that Baal is the demonic god of child sacrifice. Watch this mother's testimony of what she found in her daughter's
I'm like sick to my stomach, okay? I've heard the rumors and I still am guilty of it, taking my kids to go eat at McDonald's, but today I took my girls to go get their normal Happy Meals. She bit down on one of her chicken nuggets and she says that, you know, she hurt her teeth. And so I'm looking at it and I pulled this out. She pulls this out. She hands it to me, Kay. And I'm freaking out. Baby, where's your tooth? What happened? How'd you lose a tooth? How did you lose a tooth in your chicken nuggets? It's not her tooth, y'all. This is not my baby's tooth. But this is a baby's tooth. This was someone's baby's tooth.
McDonald's serves 68 to 69 million people in a single day. When's the last time you drove by a cattle ranch and saw more than 1,000 cows? There's not enough beef in the entire world to serve the volume of people they do. So it really makes you wonder what they mean by billions and billions served. Do not defile your temple or your child's temple by eating the poison that this place calls food. Return to the Most High's original design for your life and for your body. I'm talking whole foods. I'm talking herbal medicine straight from the earth, like it says in Sirach 38:4. And I'm talking fast and praying. Folks, this is the end of the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. I'm going to be exposing truth on this page more and more, so stay tuned.
Well, do you still eat fast food, especially McDonald's? I certainly don't and haven't in decades, but you know, it's a good point, right? All these burgers that they're serving, and that's just McDonald's, right? I can't remember the numbers, but millions and millions a day, right? Just McDonald's, that's without all the other burger places. Where's all the meat coming from? What is it really? Soylent green? Let me know your thoughts.
Not only did they erase Tartaria, 1776 was the year everything changed. In 1776, the Illuminati was founded in Bavaria. The Rothschild banking empire began its global expansion. The American Revolution broke out. Tartaria began to disappear from the maps, all in the same year. Coincidence? Tartaria was not a myth. It was a vast, ancient civilization with advanced free energy technology, great architecture using sacred geometry, a harmonious way to live with natural law, knowledge of the ether. They buried Tartaria, literally, with mud floods, natural disasters, and a new history. Once they buried the old world, they created the new one. Central banks, slavery by debt, maritime law, artificial scarcity, indoctrination through education, all funded by the same families. The Rothschilds didn't just fund empires. They funded restarts and deleted everything that didn't serve the system of control. Tartaria was way too free, way too advanced, way too powerful. So they turned everything upside down. Free energy became fossil fuel. The truth became a conspiracy. The spirit became religion. Nature has become a resource. Freedom became an illusion. 1776 wasn't the beginning, it was the cover. We are the generation that rediscovers what they tried to delete. Tartaria was real. The ether is real. And the truth is no longer hidden.
Tartaria, yes, the reset. 1776, I mean, you know, a lot did happen, and I definitely do place the last reset around that time. Don't know the exact year, but, you know, we see everything change. You know, if you look at photos, or not photos, but drawings, paintings, from the mid to late 1700s, everything's very colourful, very fancy. All their furniture, their clothes, their carriages, they're all very creative, right? And artistic and amazing looking. And then you get to the 1800s, there's not much sort of in the late 1700s, early 1800s as far as images. And then the next ones we get is all these empty cities and then people starting repopulating them, and they're all in black, right? They're all in these drab sort of clothes. So yeah, I think that's when the last reset was, around that time. What are your thoughts? When do you think it was? And what do you think the reset was? How did they take Tartaria down? Yeah, right. Back to the whole food issue, which is kind of proof, right? Well, not kind of, it is proof that we've been invaded and there's entities out there trying to wipe us out. But this is the thing, shop at markets, shop locally, shop organic.
Have you ever noticed how every religion, no matter where you look, always has 3 gods? 3. Always 3. They'll tell you it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But before that, it was Osiris, Isis, and Horus. Go even further back. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Different lands, different stories, same pattern. Why? Why always 3? It's like the whole system is built on a code. Triads, triangles, pyramids. Everything sacred comes in 3s. Mind, body, spirit, birth, life, death, creation, preservation, destruction. You start seeing it everywhere. You can't unsee it. And the deeper you go, the creepier it gets. Because these holy 3s aren't just spiritual, they're mathematical. They're the foundation of geometry, of symbols, of power. You ever notice the Pope's hat? That tall one that looks like a fish? That's Dagon, the ancient fish god. Older than Christianity by thousands of years. The same god worshipped by priests who wore that same shape. But we never question it. We just follow the pattern we were born into. We think we're worshiping something new, but we're really bowing to the same ancient symbols, just renamed, repackaged, and sold as salvation.
This is just a theory, not a fact.
Nothing new under the sun. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing about the parasite, is it can't create. It's got no soul, right? It's got no connection to spirit. So all it can do is recycle and change things, right? Invert them, the messages and that. And that's what we see. But everything in 3s, right? The 3, 6, 9. Vortex mathematics is all about number groups and all in 3s. So I think, yeah, 3 has got something to do with the blueprint of this reality. What do you reckon? And thanks for spending time with me, guys. If you do like this kind of content, please do subscribe, give me a like, share it around, and leave me your comments.
Democracy in action. Where's my money?
The future of humanity is very bad.
Interesting year to be alive. Look at this, guys. Where are we right now? Where on earth are we right now? If you had to drop me off here without knowing, I would say we just landed in Accra or Dhaka or somewhere in Ghana. Guys, this is Paris in 2025. They're lying about the numbers. They're lying about the numbers. They are not telling us the truth. They are not disclosing the census. What's going on here? They're selling vegetables. The vegetable markets, fruits. Don't worry. I'm worried. Yeah. I don't want to document what's going on. Yeah, no, fruit. Just do it from behind me. Yeah. Obviously, Fred's trying to do his job, and I'm trying to do mine. We're trying to find the balance of safety and documentation at the same time. I've been told not to film countless amounts of times already. Why? If it's just the market, why can't I film? Bro, imagine you come on your honeymoon with your girlfriend or something, you book an Airbnb, and you end up in this part of town and you don't know. Like these two over here.
We can
We use the Western alphabet, and we have, English and French share some similarities, so we can find a way around. But imagine if you used Chinese symbols or Japanese or something, you wouldn't know what the f to do.
Yeah, well, there's lots of talk about this issue at the moment, especially in Europe, the UK, and a lot of these, protests are being sold to us as anti-immigration, and I don't think that's what it is. I've seen a lot of interviews with the people there. It's anti-mass immigration. It's this immigration that's going on when the natives of the country can't afford housing, can't find jobs, all this stuff, and they're bringing more people in, right? It's not good, and it's definitely part of the script, right? Part of their plan is to disrupt everything. And then on top of that, all these cities, we saw Paris, right? It's dirty and gross and covered in graffiti. And all the crime where they're doing this in Europe, all the crime rates are going up. It's happening in Australia too and other countries. But the crime rates are going up, and especially the SA is going through the roof in all these traditionally white countries. So what are your thoughts on this, and what's the remedy? Let me know.
This is what these people have been waiting for. They came here day after day. This is about freedom.
She reported without a hint of trouble for more than an hour.
And what happened then?
Our camera battery went down. And we had to stop for a moment, and suddenly Baha looks at me and says, "We've got to get out of here." Baha is not happy here?
He's Egyptian, he speaks Arabic, and he can hear what the crowd is saying.
Yes.
He understands what no one else in the crew understands.
That's right. I was told later that they were saying, "Let's take her pants off." And it's like suddenly, before I even know what's happening, I feel hands grabbing my breasts, grabbing my crutch, grabbing me from behind. I mean, it's not, one person and then it stops. It's like one person and another person and another.
Well, and that's the problem really, isn't it? Is the people that they're bringing in, which by the way is around 80% single males, they're coming from countries where they don't treat women very well. And, a lot of those are Islamic countries. It's a religious thing, but, whatever it is, they suppress women. They don't treat them well. They treat them like they are less than men are. And so they're bringing this into Caucasian countries. And now the whole SA thing is rising exponentially. Sweden is now the grape capital of the world. And they've done all the studies, and it's 100% it's been done by these people that have come into the country. So it's not good for the countries, is it? What do you think what are your thoughts on this? Because we've had a lot of protests and they've been labeled anti-immigration, where the people in the protests are saying it's anti-mass immigration, but it's what it really is anti having our cultures wiped out, anti being invaded slowly, right? That's really what it is. It's they just want to preserve their own lives, and they want to look after people in the country first before they bring anyone else in. But it's a complex issue, right? Because it's being done by the government, right? And then the good people who do want to immigrate, who want to immigrate and integrate, they're not being brought over. Like I said, it's all single men. It's been done to create chaos and division. But what do you think about the whole immigration issue going on at the moment?
This woman has spent the last 3 years building an entire tunnel system under her house. And yes, she has neighbors. You see, initially, Carla only set out to build a storm shelter under her property in Virginia. But instead of hiring a team of professionals with zero qualifications, Carla set out starting hand mixing her own concrete, laying down hundreds of blocks. She blasted through multiple jackhammers. She built a freaking elevator to haul out more than 200 tons of rock. She installed pumps for excess water and even had to build a ventilation system so she didn't suffocate down there. I mean, one small mistake playing IRL Minecraft can literally mean death. That's why it's even more mind-blowing when you find out that not only is she doing all of this work by herself, spending 50 to 100K of her own money so far, but also she works in freaking IT. She's entirely self-taught. Is this what happens when you realize you have free will? And what makes this story even crazier is that she's not digging underneath some isolated house. She lives in a normal neighborhood. So naturally, this freaked a lot of them out because, I don't know, sinkholes, reaching the netherworld, angering the nether mob. So I guess it makes sense that one of her curtain-twitching neighbors snitched.
We have some complaints. Basically, there's some construction going on.
And in December 2023, local authorities turned up to her house. They inspected her tunnels, declared them unsafe, and ordered her to halt construction. Oh, but the government had no idea who they were up against. She taught herself how to mine. Paperwork and legal code? That's some wind-down bedtime reading. So she went to war for over a year, and I cannot stress this enough. She somehow won and got the government to allow an unqualified individual to dig tunnels as a hobby underneath a suburban neighborhood. This woman needs to run for president because I believe she can achieve anything. Her permits were approved in March, and today the tunnels continue. Next, she says that she'll be using the 2,000-year-old stone blocks to build a castle. And she'll probably get approval to build it on top of the freaking White House.
Oh, now she's going to build a castle. That's crazy, but self-taught, right? Autodidactic. And it just shows you that, you know, if you have a dream and a passion, you can do anything. You really can. And no one can really stop you, even though the government will jump in and try and do that, even though they have tunnels everywhere, right? You know, if you persist and you've got a dream and you are the stronger energy, because basically the one with the biggest dream wins, right? So if that's you, you're going to win. So whatever it is you want to do, guys, start it.
The pneumatic tunnel system, another bit of old world transport tech they literally kept buried. These pneumatic tunnel systems could send anything or anyone anywhere in the world in no time at all. Here's the rediscovery of some of that pneumatic tunnel system in New York. They say it was just a small strip they built in New York as a test area. But as you can see in these images, everything from children to post was sent through these pneumatic tunnels. From New York to London, all of these systems were already established. And then they got buried and forgotten for several decades. Or is it that these parasites still use this tunnel system today to get anywhere in the world in no time at all, with no one being any wiser? That's what the powers that be have done. They commandeered the best buildings, the best technologies, kept it for thee, and shelved it and hid it from the rest of us. When you look at these rediscoveries, these uncoverings of these pneumatic tunnels, you can tell how ancient and old they looked here even. Just another bit of our true history hidden. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Question everything. Yeah, the tunnels, pneumatic tunnels. You can find it. It's online still if you do a search for it. I've covered it on my other channel, my main channel, Autodidactic. So go check it out if you haven't already. But yeah, these tunnels, what do you think? Like there's been a lot of talk about tunnels, right? In the last few years, we're finding out that there's more and more just all across the realm, right? They're everywhere. They seem to be. Is it some ancient system that went continent to continent? I definitely believe it's from the old world. You know, a free energy transport system, right? It's compressed air that they're using. So all of these things, all these technologies got wiped out, right? Because they weren't profitable. But the big question is, are the elites still using them? What do you reckon? Let me know.
This is the principle of a capacitor you may have struggled with. If your teacher had explained it this way, you'd be financially free. The structure of a capacitor is very simple. Inside are two conductive plates separated by an insulator. When connected to a power source, electrons flow from the negative terminal. The insulator blocks the path, so negatively charged electrons build up on one plate. The electric field repels electrons from the other plate, leaving it with a positive charge. This creates a potential difference, or voltage. Now we'll disconnect the power and connect a load, like an LED. Due to the potential difference, electrons flow from the negative plate to the positive. As a result, the LED lights up. This is one of a capacitor's basic functions, storing energy. You might think it's just like a battery, but their functions are quite different. This practical application will show you. In this parallel circuit, when the power is on, current flows to both the capacitor and the LED, charging the capacitor. When the battery suddenly stops providing power, the capacitor's stored energy discharges, briefly maintaining the circuit's power. When the power source returns, the capacitor begins to charge again, waiting for the next chance to discharge. We can compare a capacitor to a water tower. A water source fills the tank. If the water pressure becomes unstable or stops, the stored water in the tank can temporarily maintain the outflow until the water is supplied again or the tank drives running. Maintaining a stable voltage is one of the capacitor's main functions. Furthermore, a capacitor's discharge speed is much faster than a battery's. In this setup, a battery directly powers a motor, and its rotation speed is slow. Now if we add a capacitor, first we use the battery to charge it, then we switch the circuit to let the capacitor power the motor directly. You can clearly see the motor speed has increased a lot. This is because the capacitor provides a much larger instantaneous current than the battery, giving the motor a greater power output. Therefore, capacitors can power devices that need fast charging, like the flash in a camera. Besides that, capacitors also have the function to pass AC and block DC. In a DC circuit, the insulator's barrier means that once the capacitor is charged, no more current will flow. But when the power is switched to AC, the current's direction constantly changes. Therefore, the circuit can still conduct current. In daily electronic equipment, there are many PCB traces, wires, and leads. They all have some parasitic resistance and inductance. While the individual values are small, together they can affect the current stability, producing strong electrical noise. This noise is a high-frequency AC signal, and a capacitor can effectively divert this noise away. This function is called decoupling. It's very effective at removing electrical noise in audio. Have you learned it now?
Interesting. The more you know, right? Yeah, capacitors, evening out the flow, right? Even flow. And basically setting more positively charged ions through motors and things so that they run faster. So interesting. Did you know that? Did you know this is what they did? Because this is some of the practical stuff that it would have been nice to be taught at school, right? Stuff we can actually use. But of course, with this kind of knowledge and an open mind, you can go ahead and create, free energy devices and things like this, right? Which, of course, the elites do not want. But, it's good information and you can learn it all. This is the thing. It's all out there to learn if you want to and if you put your time and effort into it. It's just not freely given. So we really do already have all the answers. We've just got to start using them.
In 1983, at the start of one of the world's toughest ultramarathons, a 540-mile trek from Sydney to Melbourne, a farmer showed up dressed in overalls and galoshes. When reporters asked who he was, he replied that his name was Cliff Young. He was 61 years old and often ran for 3 days straight while chasing sheep on his farm, so he was confident he could run the 5 days needed to cover the distance. The other participants were elite runners from around the world, sponsored by major sports brands, most of them under 30. Runners typically ran for 18 hours and slept for 6 to cover the distance. However, it was discovered the day after the race started that Cliff Young had run through the entire night without sleeping. 5 days, 15 hours, and 4 minutes later, he finished first in this grueling race, beating his nearest competitor by 10 hours. He admitted he didn't even know runners could sleep during the race. Cliff declined the $10,000 prize money and shared it among the next 5 runners who finished after him. He became an Australian national hero and an ultramarathon icon, exemplifying how determination, perseverance, and unconventional thinking can overcome any physical challenge. Follow to learn something new every day.
Well, do you remember Cliff Young? I definitely do. This was in Australia, obviously, and I was in Melbourne when it happened. It was very big news, but apart from a bit of nostalgia, I just think it's a good little story, right? Determination, all that, of course, but sometimes it's what we don't know, right? What we don't pay attention to that actually helps us succeed. He didn't know that everyone else was stopping to sleep. He didn't know you could. So he just kept going. And this is, a good lesson for life, right? Often it's the negatives that, people tell us, like how hard it's going to be to start something new, right? They tell you all the problems, but often, and well, probably 100% of the time, right? It's better not to know that, not to know how hard it is, because then you don't put your focus on it and your attention. You just keep going, right? So it's what we know and also what we don't know that can lead us to success.
You just had a meal 2 hours ago. Why you have to eat again? Are you hungry? You're not hungry? Oh, no, but I have to eat. Why? Because, two things. One, you're a junkie, you're an addict. You're an addict. Just like cocaine, just like heroin, you're an addict. Because that sugar goes to the same part of the brain as dopamine. So it gives you that reward center. So now you have to have your next high. This is very real, guys. That's why intermittent fasting breaks that habit. How do you make a junkie come off his cocaine? You stick him in a room and don't give him any heroin. That's it. Number two is we've been socially indoctrinated to eat. I don't have an urge or anything, and if I don't eat, I'm not going to get cravings that I got to go eat, I got to eat. No, but it's 1 o'clock, so I got to go eat. Who said you got to eat 3 meals a day and 2 snacks? The food industry said that. You didn't say it, your doctor didn't say it. I want you all to now have conscious feeding. Conscious feeding. That means you eat when you're hungry. If you're not hungry, don't eat. You're not going to die.
Well, the truth is always simple, right? Eat when you're hungry. If you're not hungry, don't eat. Good advice. But yeah, this whole 2 meal thing and intermittent fasting, this just sort of naturally happened. I eat 2 meals a day, right? One 11, 12 o'clock and one sort of 5 or 6. And I'm just not really hungry between that. And a lot of my friends are saying the same thing. So how many meals a day are you having? Are you down to the 2 at the moment? Let me know in the comments.
This man right here, if his inventions were taken seriously, the world would be in a completely different place today. Victor Schauberger, born in the 1800s, had a strong fascination with water, forests, and the natural world. Through his years, he postulated that water is self-organizing and actually conscious. He thought that modern-day science was mechanistic and materialistic and didn't take into account energies, frequencies, vibration, like Nikola Tesla, and spirituality. One of his inventions was a water structuring device. And if we use these today, we wouldn't have to use chlorine and other strange chemicals they add to the water to clean it. With this invention, it cleans water by structuring it molecularly. He referred to this as living water. He invented water turbines that generated electricity from water without pressure or heat. He also used copper coils to harness water's electrical potential. As it implodes, there's a little electrical current basically that's what he used to harness it. Kind of sounds like free energy. He made implosion motors, engines that ran on water or air power without combustion or explosion. And he also made literal flying saucers, at least according to his studies, science, research, and the things that came out from him. He used electrical coils to ionize air molecules and create a plasma field around the hull of this, basically, UFO. Unfortunately, he was offered a deal to go to Texas to get a bunch of money to help improve his work and develop his work into being used around the world. And unfortunately, he signed a deceptive contract which signed away his life work to an element of the U.S. military. And he perished shortly after.
Well, it's always the same story, isn't it? The military, the government, they always come in and steal or, buy whatever, swindle their way into the information and then get rid of the inventor. And I mean, clearly it's because they want to hide it, right? Because it's not profitable, these inventions of free energy. And I find it interesting that, the people who were born late 1800s, early 1900s, there were a lot of these alternative ideas, right? Alternative energy systems and things. And basically they were looking at the world, the natural world, through the eyes of, frequency and vibration and resonance and the ether, which of course the ether has been scrubbed from science, right? You're not allowed to believe in the ether. And, clearly there's a reason why, right? Because you can't monetize the ether. But there's so many good ideas out there. I've said it before, like we already have all the answers. We've just got to start implementing them and stop letting this, the Elite system, tell us that we can't do things. I mean, they can tell us, but what we need to do is stop listening to them, stop believing them, because it's all BS, right? No one rules anyone. No one has domain or jurisdiction over anyone unless you give it to them. But there we go, guys. That's another one done. Hope you enjoyed that little romp through the strange realm we find ourselves in. Please, if you do like this content, give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know your thoughts on any of these videos. Leave me a comment, because I do go through them all. And thanks for spending some time with me. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.